Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Psychology Unit 10, which is all about personality. Personality is defined as the organization of enduring behavior patterns that often serve to distinguish us from one another. There are 16 personality types, all are determined by introvert versus extrovert, sensation versus intuition, thinking versus feeling, and judging versus perceiving. There are two different approaches to defining personality. The first one is Freud's approach that suggests people do things because of struggles in childhood, and the humanistic approach, which is from Rogers and Maslow's approach that focuses on reaching our full potential and self-fulfillment. There are three parts of the mind: the conscious, the preconscious, and the unconscious. The conscious is the part of our awareness that contains all of our feelings, sensations, and any thoughts we are aware of at any given moment. The preconscious contains memories and thoughts that can be retrieved but not currently in your awareness. It's also called the mental waiting room. And the unconscious contains thoughts, feelings, and memories outside of your conscious awareness. This would be like if you go through a traumatic experience, like an abusive childhood, you're going to block out that memory from your brain. Freud, he tried to unlock the unconscious by hypnosis and free association, which is when he would say one word and then his patient would say the first word that comes to mind when they think of that word. And he thought it would reveal things about their unconscious that could be traced to painful childhood memories. And this is the chair that he would use when doing this. The parts of the conscious are the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is the unconscious energy that operates on the pleasure principle and demands immediate gratification. This would be like having the impulse to buy a luxury item that's way over your budget. The ego is the conscious part of personality that operates on the reality principle. This would be like if you're sitting in a meeting and you want to have a snack, but your ego makes you wait until after the meeting's done to have a snack. And the superego is a part of personality that represents ideals and provides standards for judgment. This would be like feeling guilty for taking something that's not yours or like doing anything wrong. And then this image perfectly represents the conscious, preconscious, unconscious with the ego, superego, and the id. There's two different types of complex. The first type is the Oedipus complex, which is Freud's theory that boys are in love with their mom, competing with the dad for the mom's affection. And then the Electra complex is the opposite. It's Carl Jung's theory that girls are in love with their dad, competing with their mom. And this happens like when they're younger, like toddlers and babies. Some defense mechanisms. Repression is the unconscious blocking of distressful memories from the conscious awareness. This would be like going through something traumatic or something abusive. You would just block it out of your memory. Regression is when an individual reverts to more immature behaviors in response to stress. This would be like when an adult is super stressed, they might start chewing on like a pen cap or biting their nails. Rationalization is when individuals create self-justifying explanations for their actions that may be unacceptable. This would be like when you fail a test and you say that the questions were bad, even though you did nothing to study, you did nothing to prepare yourself, so you blame the test. And then denial is when an individual refuses to accept painful realities. This would be like confronting a gambling addict, telling them they have an addiction, and they will deny that they have a gambling problem. And displacement is when unacceptable feelings are transferred from their original source to a less threatening one. This would be like if you get mad at your boss at work and you can't do anything because then you'll get fired. So you just keep those emotions to yourself, and then when you get home, you start getting mad at your spouse and yelling at them and taking everything out on them. On Maslow's hierarchy of needs, at the very top, it's self-actualization and self-transcendence. Self-actualization is realizing one's full potential and achieving personal growth. And self-transcendence is expansion of self-boundaries to connect with something greater than oneself. So that would be doing something like yoga or meditating. but those needs can't be met until physiological, safety, belonging, and esteem needs are all met. Some Neo-Freudian theories, these are all critics of Freud who agreed with him for the most part, but they thought that there was more of an increase on the conscience and a decrease in the like sexual part of everything. So Adler and Horney, they thought a child's social struggles define their personality, not their sexual struggles growing up. And Adler's inferiority complex is feeling less capable than others. And Horney's sense of helplessness is when a child's safety needs are not met, the child is going to develop anxiety. And Carl Jung's collective unconscious is a common collection of images that humans have gained altogether. Carl Rogers, he believed all people were good and would go toward self-actualization unless stopped by something else. And he believed you only needed three parts to self-actualize, which is genuineness. A person must be honest with themselves and with other people. And acceptance, which is accepting others and ourselves for who we really are. And enjoying people despite them having mistakes, because we all make mistakes, so you have to give them grace. And empathy, which is honestly listening to others and sharing in others' feelings and like imagining their situation from your perspective. That's it for personality. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll have the Unit 11 video, which is all about intelligences, coming soon. Thank you.